here today with Jen Fox, Council Member-elect Jen Fox of the City of Hastings. Jen, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your election win. That was really kind of cool. I'm sure it was your first election, right?
It was, a dream that I've had for years and years.
So your first campaign, what made you run for city council? What gave you the crazy idea to do this?
As a local business owner, I've had a lot of experience working with the city. I've served on HEDRA, the Hastings Economic Development and Redevelopment Authority, for the past couple of years. And with all of that background, besides my experience in government, working in government for a long time, and my education, which is in public policy and leadership, my master's degree, putting that into use with my local business downtown, and then with my work on HEDRA, I was like, wow, this is really where the rubber hits the road. This is so inspiring. I was really moved by the good work that the city has been doing for decades and decades to keep our local businesses thriving, our residents happy and healthy. And then when COVID-19 hit, I realized that there's space for more voices, and we really need some people who have different experiences and different life backgrounds. It is something I've been passionate about since I was young, and I think local government is the most fundamental form of government, and that's really where people get their services, they get their resources, they have their foundation built by their local governments. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a really moving thing to be a part of, and I'm just so overwhelmed with joy and excitement.
Well, that's great. I like that you use the word joy, because I think there's probably a lot of people who that would be like, fingernails on the chalkboard, where they would be forced to run for office in some capacity. They could never do it. And you're expressing joy about it. Yeah. So that's wonderful.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, we need people who are passionate about public service and passionate about their community. Now, you grew up here, right? So you're a townie.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever that means, right?
Well, I've only lived here for 18 years, and how I describe it is, that's like a blink compared to a lot of multi-generational Hastings families. But no, certainly I've been honored to know, obviously, your family and a lot of families that have lived here and grown up and put down a great foundation for the type of community that Hastings is. Because it's special. Don't you agree it's a special town?
Absolutely. I've said this before in different public addresses and speeches, but there is certainly something in the water. The Mississippi River runs right through. It's a special place. There's some sort of energy, there's creativity, there's community, and there's passion for what we do. Mm-hmm. And it certainly is a special place.
If you had 3 things you'd like to accomplish, this is pretty simplistic, but what are the top things that you'd like to accomplish at City Hall now that you're going to be a city council member starting in the first week of January? So people shouldn't call you yet complaining about their potholes or their street light is out or things like. Wait till January, and then you can call Jen.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
3 things that I'm super excited to keep working on is housing. I would talk about that constantly. I think people probably know that I'm passionate about it. We have great developments coming up right now. You're going to see a lot of ground moving and breaking and buildings being constructed in the next several months in a few different parts of town, which is going to allow people to move around Hastings, and it's going to allow new families to come in. And that is something we desperately need right now. And I'm really excited about it. Mm-hmm. We also need to, within that little idea, we need to figure out what our housing assets are. And I know through the work that our new economic development coordinator will be doing, we will be able to do a little bit more assessment and a little bit more understanding of where we are and who wants to buy those and what's that look like, what's that demographic like. We can optimize our business growth potential and really bring in some industry that needs people to run it, right? So I think that there's an opportunity for encouraging businesses to come to town. I'm really excited to help people connect to their government. I think lots of people don't know what their local government does, and I think it's the imperative of the government officials and the city to help people understand how to access resources and how to connect to what they need and actually to make those steps forward. One of my favorite books is by Dr. Benjamin Barber, and it's called If Mayors Ruled the World. And there's a great line in there. City administrator is talking to heads of state, basically, and he says, "Spare me your sermons and let me fix your sewers." And I just think that's so powerful. You just need to do the activity to fix the potholes and fix the sewer and get people connected to the different resources around town, whether that's the HART grants that we worked through in Hedra, or that's the holiday hoopla downtown for 2021. Whatever that looks like, there are resources that people can have access to, and I think it's our job to show them and tell them that.
So when you were campaigning, and I know this year was probably the most unusual campaign in in history, I guess, because you really couldn't door knock, right? I mean, you couldn't knock on the door and have people come to the door and speak to them face to face, which had to be a terrible disadvantage.
It was really hard, especially because I really love connecting with people. So in the future, it will be my joy to walk around and get to know people in my ward if I don't already know them. So I used a lit drop approach, which I did a couple times through the ward with the help of wonderful volunteers. And that worked well for me. But the fun part was when people would email me or message me on Facebook with questions and concerns and ideas and excitement about the things that matter to the city. I've gotten a lot of questions about crosswalks, which is a fantastic question. Like, why is there a crosswalk there? Why isn't there one there?
Right.
I don't necessarily have the answer today, but I'm excited to get the answer. So that has been the most fun part of campaigning. I take my dog for 2 walks a day, and we walk different routes through Ward 2, oftentimes like around the hospital and down 4th Street. And we've gotten to know community members that way, which is really fun. So if you see Ingrid and I out walking, please say hi.
What sorts of things are you going to do to stay more engaged in the community, and maybe some things that you could do that maybe haven't been done in the past?
Yeah, this is one of those smaller ideas that isn't like change this part of the city. It's something that I'm just really excited to do, and it's to have neighborhood meetings. There are lots of different parts of Ward 2 that are, different demographics live all throughout Ward 2. I'm excited to get to know each different neighborhood, the historic area of Ward 2, the newer area of Ward 2, the President Streets, and there are parks all around us. So I think it would be really fun to have like a neighborhood hangout at a park some night, maybe with hot dogs, who knows? But just being able to connect with the people who live near us and around us, as well as all of Ward 2, right? But that's a little bit less manageable than a neighborhood get together. Right. But encouraging neighbors and neighborhoods to gather together and support each other is something that I'm really excited to do.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the National Night Out approach.
Exactly.
Where you're around in different parks and different areas. and people really get into that. And I know that's something that I've done in different cities that I've worked with, where they're very much into that national night out. And plus, it's not just about public safety, which obviously is important. The fire and police departments are out there, but just getting to know their elected officials, getting to know their neighbors too.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
we have these jobs where we leave early in the morning and we come home, and especially this time of year, it's
It's
dark when we
dark.
leave and dark when we come
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. Or it's dark when we move from our bedroom to our office and vice
Well,
versa.
yeah, with COVID, which is kind of the elephant in the middle of the room,
Hmm.
and your business has been affected by this, has been impacted by this, as has most of the downtown Hastings businesses. What are some things that maybe what's been what's been the toughest thing about that, and how do you see now as an elected official coming into office, how has your personal experience with COVID-19, how has that colored what you're going to do as an elected official to try to help other business people?
Yeah. I'll speak on my behalf, not on the behalf of my co-owners or my little team that we work with every day. Um, One thing that I grapple with is wanting to take care of our staff and our customers and make sure that everybody is safe and we're doing everything right, and staying open, honestly. Having people come into our tap room is really scary. And we are putting a lot of faith in people that they're wearing a mask and washing their hands. And we know our staff is trained really well, and we know that we're sanitizing things really well. But I think we've all noticed with the spiking numbers in the past several weeks that the virus will permeate. And we've been fortunate, and people have been so careful and so cautious and so loving about this. But how much easier would it be if we would be able to afford to just shut down so that we weren't a place where people could contract it?
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn on any of that, but
No,
it
no.
is my personal fear every day that somebody will get sick because we've been open.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think making any decisions about how we continue relief before the recovery period, which it doesn't seem to be anywhere near soon, is really important. And understanding that most of us businesses have to stay open. We don't have the financial opportunity to just shut down right now. And we're fortunate that we're not, sure, but people are getting sick. So understanding that complex conversation about trying to keep people safe while still operating is going to be really important to the conversation moving forward about how we help businesses in the relief still, because that's what we're in, and then the recovery, and what kind of opportunities there can be in being creative about, I don't know, from my perspective, events and
Yeah.
opportunities like that, but just expanding the opportunity to gain new business and to help with tourism and to support the businesses all over town and make sure that they have a place to go with their concerns and worries and ideas, because it's really going to take the whole town coming together to get our businesses back on their feet.
Jen, as you know, there are 6 other members of the Hastings City Council, the mayor, and then 5 other individuals. How well do you know them? How are you going to get to know them? You can't really go out to coffee with them at this point.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then also
true.
the city staff, the city administrator, and all the different department heads. How do you plan on getting to know these folks and starting to work with them?
Well, I guess I know many of them through my work on Hedra. I know several staff members through different organizations I used to be a part of. We'd always pester the city for stuff. So I've gotten to know the staff a little bit in a different way, and council members and the mayor, either personally or through Hedra or other organizations, I guess. And I think one thing that'll be fun and interesting is to get to know them as a council member versus as a citizen, or as like someone with another nonprofit or something like that. So I ask a lot of questions. I think the staff and I will get to know each other pretty quickly that way. I'm very eager for a time when I can, get tours and ride-alongs and stuff like that with the staff, but I'll be patient. And my colleagues on council, I think we'll get to know each other pretty fast through meetings and workshops and just get to know how the other members work. I think is going to be really important.
Yeah. Well, I've been privileged to get to know all of the current council members and mayor in different capacities, some more than others, and certainly all of them are fine individuals who care about their city, care about their families, want to do the best for Hastings. I don't think any of them are on there for any other reason than they want the best for Hastings, Minnesota. I think you're really lined up to be successful, and I look forward to seeing what you do for your first couple months here, and I know people in Hastings are looking forward to seeing that too. Do you have any last words or remarks for your constituents or for the city of Hastings in general? Anything you want to make sure you tell people before you take office?
I'm available. I'm eager and excited to hear from people. I hope everyone has thoughtful and safe holidays. Wash your hands and wear a mask.
Okay. Now, if people wanted to get in touch with you between now and when you are sworn in January, how would they reach you? And we'll put that information here at the bottom of the screen.
So I don't have a council email yet, but they can email my personal email if they'd like, hastingscouncilfox@gmail.com, or follow me on Facebook and message me there.
Well, Councilmember-elect Fox, thanks for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it. Congratulations again, and can't wait to see what you do in January.
Thank you so much, Tom.